I was looking at some properties when I was in Austin.
Yeah.
And they were listing these apartment complexes at a 1 cap or 1.5 cap.
That's crazy.
And I was like, wait, so what that means is it's $1 million property. It's going to profit $10,000 to $15,000.
Yeah.
And I was like, that makes no sense. And they were like, well, you got to look at the future rent growth.
Yeah.
Like 10 to 15 or 10% rent growth a year. And in 3 years, you're going to be making, so much more money. So you got to not look at it based off of today's prices. You got to look at it in 3 years prices. That scares me.
Yeah.
And
I'm not telling anybody that they should take my strategy, because my strategy is based on, I've got other businesses making me money. Mm-hmm. So if I'm not cash flowing or I'm negative for what, like, it's not a big deal. Yeah. So like, it makes more sense for me to get good long-term assets that I can just wait out, because you will win waiting out if you can.
Yeah, I mean, over the long term, I mean, eventually rents will go up. I mean, that's the inevitable part of life.
Yeah, I mean, I look at the properties I bought, a couple of years ago in Vegas, and it was the same deal. Like, it'd be like, man, this doesn't really make sense today. But like, one of them I bought, and I paid $260,000, and whatever my mortgage was like $1,500 or something, and the rent on it was like $1,900, and once you factor in your property manager, you're like breaking even.
Oh,
and
really?
When you have one repair, you're down. And that same house now today, a little over 2 years later, could easily get $2,500 to $3,000. So now we're talking about making some major money.
Yeah. So it's very different than the Midwest. In Michigan, like, I can go out, if I'm talking about single family homes, I can buy a home right now. We'll just assume round numbers, $150,000.
Right.
I can buy it, and this is going to rent for $1,500 a month.
Yeah, 1% rule. It's great.
And I'm going to make half of that. I mean, assuming I got no debt on it, because a lot of these homes I can buy just cash. I mean, I can just $750, $800 a month going in my pocket.
Yeah.
And it's you're not going to see the same appreciation in rent that maybe you'll see the doubling, but it will steadily go up. But it's like the cash flows are very different. It's very stable.
Yep.
They're consistent, and you know exactly what you're getting as soon as you buy. So you can see the different markets in different parts of the world, in the country.
Yeah, I tell people this all the time. In your rental portfolio, you're going to pick one of two ways. You're going to either go for appreciation or you're going for cash flow, because very few markets have both, right? It's like you said, with the Midwest, cash flow is great, but it's not going to really grow too much. But in Cali, even take Cali for instance, right? Like, a house in Cali 5 years ago, oh my gosh, like, you killed it selling it today.
Yeah.
Vegas, very similar, man. I mean, houses have doubled in the last 5 years in Vegas.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
See, that appreciation is too risky for me. I like the cash flow because I can predict it. I know how much money I got to invest today. I know how much money I'm making every month. Yeah. And I don't got to worry about what's going to happen. If property values go down, oh well.
What I'll say is, I think it's good once you reach a certain level to just have, a diverse portfolio of houses. So it's like, for us, that 334 unit I mentioned, that's a cash flow market, right? Like, we're going to be all into those units for, just call it, $65,000 to $70,000 a unit, and they're going to rent for $700, like,
each unit. Yeah,
and that's great. That's cash flow. That's awesome. Cash flow at scale too. But I would never see a deal like that in Vegas. It just doesn't exist. So you just kind of got to pick, like, what's most important to you. And, like, even for a guy like you got all these cash flowing assets. You could definitely take a risk and go buy one, appreciation market play, and just, like, you're like, hey man, I'm kind of sketchy about this, but at least my cash flow.
I like my cash flow. How much is that property paying you in cash flow a month or a year?
Which one?
The 300 unit one.
So we just bought that like last month. So right now we're still stabilizing it. It's not making any money for us at the moment.
Is it fully occupied?
I don't know the exact number right now, but I want to say it's like 70 or 80%.
Okay, so there's room for
There's upside. A lot of room for upside there, and there's room to, because even though it is occupied, there's a lot of people not paying, right? They didn't let people get evicted. They didn't. And so a lot of these apartment owners who had tenants who kind of took advantage of that kind of got caught in a bind. Yeah. And so we were able to buy it because of that. So we're still in the stabilization process. I know that with real estate funds, like buying bigger deals, there's usually two plays. There's like, hey, I'm buying an A class, B class asset, already stabilized, and I'm going to make cash flow from day one. That's great, but you're not going to really be able to add value to it. For us, obviously, it's like a house flip. We know there's some work to do here, but once we get the work done, we do the renovations, we get the right tenants, we get rents up, it's going to cash flow a lot at that point.
So what were you looking at? Like, were you looking at businesses, population? What made you want to buy this particular property in this area? Because, I mean, Georgia's kind of far from Vegas.
Yeah, so for me, when I looked at the fund, I realized that with my social media following and all my connections across the country, because I'm part of a lot of masterminds too, that I could get a lot of deals in other places. And at the end of the day, when you're buying a unit that big, 300 plus units, it doesn't really matter where you're at because you're going to have everything in-house. You're going to have, your property management, your maintenance people, like all that stuff. And so we've just always said, hey, we're open to deals anywhere. Like, send us the deal. And if there's a big enough spread, then we'll look at those other things you mentioned. We're going to look at, what we think it's going to do in the future. We're going to look at the population, all that stuff, right? I mean, people are moving south. Like, people are consistently migrating south.
Yeah.
And so Georgia is a very hot market for apartments for that reason. And I'll just say, like, here in Vegas, there's just really not that many apartments compared to Georgia and other places. So we knew we were going to have to be, in other places that had a lot of apartments. Like, right now, I know we're looking at a deal in Iowa, right? Like, it's not like I care to be in Iowa. Like, it's just like, hey, if the deal makes sense and it's worth our time and there's enough meat on the bone, then let's do it.
Wow. So are you like going up there often to look at them, or do you do all the analysis from your office?
We do all the analysis here. We underwrite it and make offers from here. And then, if an offer sticks, then we go evaluate it, go in person.
Interesting. What are some of the biggest factors you look at? Like the biggest 2 or 3 factors you look at what's going to be a yes or a no on the deal?
I mean, for us, our model is that we want to refinance all of our investors out within a few years. Like, if we already buy something that's stabilized and we pay close to market value, it's impossible. Like, what those funds have to do is bank on appreciation to get their money. They're going to make a little bit of cash flow for the next 5 years, but their whole goal is, hey, 5-7 years from now, we're going to exit because of appreciation and we're going to make, a good chunk then. They have to exit because there's not enough equity in the deal. But if we go into a deal just like we do with house flips, already like buying it at a big discount because there's obviously something wrong with it.
Yeah.
Nobody's just selling a freaking perfect asset for, 70% of value. So we go into it knowing there's something wrong. We know we can fix it. We know we could stabilize it. And at that point, we just run the pro forma and we just say, hey, okay, right now, we're buying this for $10 million, but with these rents and with these changes, we can easily justify a value of, whatever, $16 million. And at that point, if we know we can get a $16 million value on the appraisal, let's refinance, get everyone's money out, then we can hold this thing.
So why do you refi instead of selling it?
Because like you, we want to have cash flow. We want to build a long-term portfolio, but also with real estate, as you know, you get so many benefits, man. Like all the depreciation, all of the appreciation, all of the write-offs and just like the cash flow. Nothing can offer those things the way real estate does. Like, stocks, they appreciate, they can make you money.
Yeah.
They can have dividends. Crypto, like you mentioned on, I think my podcast, stable coins, they can pay you cash flow.
Yeah.
But none of those give you tax benefits like real estate.
Yeah, 100%, man. And it's crazy. So now you're buying these multi-unit apartment complexes, 100+ units, started by flipping couches.
Yeah.
Out of a need, turned that into a home flipping business, turned the home flipping business into a much bigger home flipping business, which created more side hustle opportunities, more business opportunities. Then you started creating content, which brought more opportunities, using that to leverage even bigger deals.
Yeah.
So it all started just with one side hustle that you found and just kept scaling that bigger and bigger and bigger.
Just taking one risk, man.
Well, congratulations on all of your success. Where can people learn more about you and any last remarks you have for our viewers?
Yeah, I would say if you want to learn more about me, easiest way is just to go to ryanpineda.com. You can see all the businesses. My social medias are all on there. Go follow me if you want some content on how to make money. But I guess the last remark would be kind of just what you said of like, man, it all started with just one thing. I didn't think I'd own all these businesses or be making content and talking to you and like being a YouTuber. Like that never was a goal, nor was it a thing. But, you know, by taking one risk, you know, it succeeded. And then it led to a new opportunity where I still had to take a risk. And you're just constantly taking a new risk and new action. Like, you know, when I made my first YouTube video, I didn't know if YouTube was going to work. Like, I'm just like, hey,
none of us do.
No, I'm like, I'm going to make videos and I hope it works. But, you know, maybe I'm not taking a big monetary risk, but I'm taking a very big time risk to go put out this content. And, you know, it worked and it's led to so many opportunities. So I would just say to anybody listening or watching that, dude, just take the risk and, you know, you never know what it's going to lead to.
If you enjoyed this short clip from my longer videos, here's another clip that I think you'll love. And while you're at it, if you're interested in learning more about how to start generating passive income, our team put together an amazing guide that goes over what passive income is, how to start generating passive income, and different passive income strategies. All you got to do is click that button right over there. Thank you for watching, and as always, keep hustling.